Hello, 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 and welcome everybody to Royer's World. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to join me today. It looks like we got three people in the room, so welcome, welcome, welcome. As you're in, just shout yourself out. That way I know you're here and I know who I'm talking to because today we're going to have a nice little group discussion. We are celebrating Martin Luther King Day today, and I want you guys to come in the room and join me and help me celebrate today. So, hello, everyone. Hello, fresh strawberries. Welcome to the room. Hello, Naughty. Welcome to the room. Um, let's see. Just trying to get everything set up. Sorry, guys. Hello, hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Listen, today is going to be a group conversation, so I want you to come and join me in the chat. I have put the link up, so that way you guys can join me. Um, and we're going to have a little fun today, okay? We're celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King today. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his birthday was on yesterday. And so I just wanted to get on live. I didn't want to be off today and just waste this day not doing anything. I wanted to use today to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King, the work that he has done, his life, his legacy. Hey, Britt. And just talk about what it means to us, and then how we can push the dream and the agenda further faster. So that's what I just wanted to come on today to celebrate the man who helped us with so many others gain rights, the right to vote, the right excuse me, to drink from the same water fountain, the right to walk down the street, and not have to cross the street because of another race or, whatever the case may have been back then. And so that's what we're here for today, okay? So I'm going to listen, and as I said, I want you guys to come in the room and have the conversation with me because I want to know what today means to you. I want to know what you think we need to do to push the agenda further, faster. And I just want us to have a fun conversation, okay? So I'm going to invite Auntie Robin into the room. Hey.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, and happy Martin Luther King Day
Happy
of
Martin Luther
service.
King Day. How you feeling?
I feel good. I feel really good. A little excited and sad at the same time. Happy and sad at
Yes.
the same time. Um,
Yes. We
you
could
know,
definitely understand those feelings and emotions. Those are real, very real. Because I feel like this is definitely like a sensitive, bittersweet topic, subject, if you may.
mhm.
So, yeah, I definitely want to indulge in the seriousness of it, but I want us to also have a good time. I want us to enjoy, laugh, love, inspire one another, and see what we can do to continue to keep this dream going because the last thing we want to do is to let the dream die. We don't want that to happen.
Well,
So,
you're right. Not just about the dream, though. I like, for me, it's a little bit beyond that. Um, Traditionally, what I have done the last, I don't know how many years, on this day is participate in what had become my favorite community service project with my sorority. And we
mm,
celebrated 115 years yesterday, by the way.
yes,
Anyway, thank you.
congratulations.
We did this really big community event, but today we just did like a food drive. And I say just because for me, getting like some cans and boxes of stuff and just is donating is not as much as I prefer to do,
Mhm.
or it's not as interactive. And I also don't, I like to see an immediate impact. So that's the sadness for me, is that, the Rona took us on this whole different path to where we're not able to interact as we have in the past. But
Exactly.
but I do, whenever I say, speak of Martin Luther King Day, we always consider it a day of service. So it's a day on, not a day off. So yeah, I dropped off my little groceries and that was it. But I'm here and I can chat with you. And we can
Yes.
talk about the day, what it means.
And that's what I felt, I was like, I didn't want to get on live. Excuse me. I didn't want to come to like have today, like be off today and not be doing nothing and have no purpose behind it. I'm like, it's Martin Luther King Day. Let me get up. Let me be purposeful. Let me take the time to really make this day something special so that people can realize why we celebrate it, the purpose of us celebrating it, and actually take advantage to do whatever we can do to continue to help push this further faster. So I got up this morning, I talked to our creator, God, who I believe in. And one of my friends texted me and she said, let's go walking. So I got up and we went walking together. And it was just so nice to get out and breathe the fresh air, to be able to be in the presence of my friend, to be in the presence of myself, to be in my right mind. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, today I should do a live on Dr. Martin Luther King, since today is his day and yesterday was his birthday. So like I said, today I just wanted to talk about really the life, the work, and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. And I don't want to exclude anyone else who was a part of the civil rights movement and everything that went on, because they are just as important as he is. And he wouldn't have been able to do the work without others being a part to push that dream and that, I don't want to keep calling it the dream, but to push, for lack of words, the vision, yes, for all of us of people of color, further, faster, and in a good, healthy way, in my opinion. And so, for me, I always kind of struggle. Now, don't judge me when I say this, people, but I always struggle with celebrating today and really understanding today, because me growing up, when I was learning about Dr. Martin Luther King and Black history and everything, it was very scary for me. I'm very sensitive. I'm a very, very sensitive human being. It doesn't take much to scare me. It doesn't take much to make me think negative thoughts. And so when we talked about Martin Luther King in school, when we talked about Black history, we hear so much negativity and how they beat us down and how they abused us and misused us. And I missed a lot of the important conversations on what they did do for us. And so I was sitting up before I came on the live, I was doing my research, just really kind of trying to dive in so that I come on and I know what I'm talking about. And as I was reading and doing my research, I was really seeing, and I have known for a while now, as I've gotten older, but I've really seen, the progress and the work and the dedication that not only Martin Luther King, but so many others alongside of him put in to help push the vision. And it just made me feel like, wow, like I feel good to be a Black man. I feel good to know the history and to be able to honor a man who didn't even know me, had no thought, no opinion, no nothing about me. But because he cared for our people, because he loved, as we talk about and been talking about, our people and wanting better for our people, he sacrificed himself, he sacrificed his family, and so many others sacrificed for us to be able to walk where we walk today. And so for those of you who don't know, Martin Luther King is a civil rights activist. He was mostly known for the March on Washington, giving his I Have a Dream speech. He was known to be the leader of the Montgomery bus boycott. He was a part of the voting, civil rights voting. He was a part of labor rights and just so many other civil rights movements in the I'd say early 50s up until the latter 60s. So Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King is was an American Baptist minister, an activist, and a prominent leader in the civil rights movement from the 1955s up until 1968, where he was assassinated. And I was looking at, when I was doing my research, I seen this word assassinated, and I was like, I used the word murder because what happened was a murder to me. But we'll stick with assassination. King was born in Atlanta, Georgia on January 15th, 1929. He is the second of three children born to Michael and Alberta King. He grew up in a Bible teaching, reading, and believing home. As he grew up, he followed in his father's footsteps, becoming a minister and being active in the civil rights movement. He then in 1944 applied for Morehouse College at the age of 15. In 1948, he graduated at the age of 19 with a bachelor's of arts in sociology. He then went on to seminary school at Kozer Theological Seminary School and received his bachelor's of divinity in 1951. He then in 1953 married his wife, Coretta Scott King. They had 4 children together, 3 who still stand with us today, pushing on his legacy and all that he and so many others have done to get us to where we are today. So, Auntie Robin, just give me a little bit about what you feel about today, what you think, what your thoughts are. How did you learn about Dr. Martin Luther King? What was given to you?
Well, for me, the only thing I ever learned about Martin Luther King in school was really that he led the Montgomery bus boycott. He gave the "I Have a Dream" speech, and he was assassinated at the Lorraine Motel. But here's the stuff that I filled in. By the way, did you know that when he was born, his name was actually Michael, and he changed it to Martin for
I did. Yes, I
okay.
did as I was doing this research. Yes, I did. But today was the first time that I ever knew about it.
Isn't it great? You do something new, right?
Every time.
What I like to focus on is things that, for me, I'm very one of the things that the thing I studied in college was the American labor movement. I was very invested in it, and that's actually where I started my career working for labor unions. And Dr. King was very, very heavily invested, and he worked a lot with labor unions around the country. And as you recall, when he was assassinated, he was in town to support striking sanitation workers. Mm-hmm. And now the difference, assassination is murder, but what makes why they say assassinate and not murder, even though murder is descriptive and inclusive, is because when someone's assassinated, they're targeted typically for either political or religious purposes. And so that's and you get snuck up on. Both the same conclusion, but that's what the difference in the words. My first job, I was talking to, I guess, some old heads there. And that's when I learned that the union I worked for, Local 1199, the building I worked in, Dr. King had been there. And while I worked there, I always used to brag that Dr. King is quoted as having said that Local 1199 was the conscience of the labor movement. And it struck me because I thought about it. I was looking at this union, and unions in general, it's typically, yes, unions fight for workers' rights, their own workers, the people who are in their union. But typically, the fights that they have, especially today, have little to do with their membership. So when they fight for to increase the minimum wage, most union members are not making minimum wage. They're making a lot more, but they're working, to help the greater good. I have other memories. When we talk about the March on Washington, I'm so glad that you did not limit the discussion to Martin Luther King Jr., because no man is an island, and you can't do everything alone. And so I learned. So, for example, Bayard Rustin, have you heard of him?
I have not.
Okay. So Bayard Rustin is actually the person who really organized the March on Washington. He was the brains behind it. And actually, the first person who came up with the concept was a man named A. Philip Randolph. And A. Philip Randolph was a labor leader, the Brotherhood of the Pullman Porters. That was his union. Mm-hmm. Anyway, he had attempted a march a few years before that didn't come off. And his guy Bayard Rustin, whatever they did, they got together, and they were the ones who orchestrated it. And Dr. King, of course, was instrumental, but the people who did like all the hard work, the heavy lifting, were with them. And it wasn't until he died that I realized I was riding the elevator with this man bed resting almost every day at my job when I worked for the teachers union. That's a side note. And then, of course, I'm sorry because I could have learned so much. So the lesson there is pay attention, speak to people, because you never know who they are. You still there? Okay. I think that also, if I can just share, one of the things I think is really interesting about Dr. King's legacy is he is such a great example of when people pass, how we really loud them and elevate them in ways that we didn't when they were alive. So, excuse me. And that's what for me is funny that I feel like his legacy is a little bit misinterpreted because when he was assassinated, he was like the FBI's most hated person. They published a document that was about 17,000 pages long about him. He was surveilled, photographed, you name it, for years. They tried to say that he had communist ties. Like I said, they spied on him. They recorded him. They even sent him a letter that was anonymous. And as I remember reading, the letter that they sent him was what he interpreted. He thought that it was meant for him to unalive himself.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Because I couldn't hear you. I was like, I'm here. I'm just chatting.
Yes, there is something going on with my internet. So I believe we are still live. If
Okay.
y'all just let me know in the comment sections that we are still live. I know it may be a little blurry, but just
Yeah,
let
it
me
is. We're
know.
live. I just looked at it on my TV.
Okay. Sorry everyone. I do
Yeah. Yeah.
apologize.
I babbled. You know what I wanted to ask you about, Royer, since we're
Yes.
talking about things that are uplifting. Do you know that Dr. King had his Poor People's Campaign, and that was to address the issues of economic justice. And right now, today, right there in your home state, we have Reverend William Barber, who has revitalized the Poor People's Campaign, and he's also been um, traveling the country because he used to have his Moral Mondays in North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's doing he doesn't have that same group. I don't remember what it was called. I think it's something like Keepers of the Breach or something like that. But now he's doing the Poor People's Campaign, addressing the economic issues, traveling and rallying around. And I'm just wondering, the one thing I don't know is if he's going to seek to ballot wholly after Dr. King, where they again have another march on Washington after he rallies the troops from all over.
Yeah, I did not know about all of that, but I do know who you're talking about.
Mhm.
So let me ask you this. What do you think?
Yes,
Oh, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. What do you think?
Yes, I can hear you.
What do you think it took to sacrifice, as far as him personally, to make the work that he was doing, if that makes sense?
Um, Everything takes you have to be dedicated, you have to be steadfast. You can't be held back by anything. We know the sacrifices were a family in his own life.
Mm,
um and the work is ongoing, it doesn't end. Part of what we need to do, we have to continue the work. Like we look at somebody like Reverend Barber, even Reverend Sharpton, a whole lot of different people from different pockets that have to keep the ball rolling because as much as we have advanced, we haven't gotten very far. And because
mm.
people have not gotten stayed on that treadmill, I mean, maybe I should say, I think that we've been more on a treadmill. We're moving and not really getting anywhere. That we should not have been on the treadmill. We should have been on level ground because we've lost so much already, especially in the last few years, as far as our rights are concerned.
We definitely have. We definitely have. And so that's why I really wanted to do this video today. Granted, it's not going how I planned, but it is what it is. Because I wanted everyone to really remember the importance of our history, everything that not only Dr. Martin Luther King did, but Coretta Scott King, the gentleman, each and every individual who were a part of the civil rights movement, who really pushed and worked hard to see that our freedom, that our rights, that our labor laws, that everything that everyone else has aligns across the board. That it's not just for white people, it's not just for light-skinned people, but everyone in the world, or in America rather, has the same rights. And I think that the goal that Martin Luther King had, along with so many others, I think they would be proud to see what we have done today. But then again, I feel like that they would still be a tool to help make it better, if that makes sense. Because I feel like after Martin Luther King, was assassinated, I feel like that really put a big dent in the work that everyone was doing. But then for some, I think that it kind of pushed them to really do the work more. And I feel like we've lost that in my generation, is really pushing that work and that effort to see us get further faster, which is why I think we've slowed down so much.
You know what I think? The saddest thing I'll say is that the death of Martin Luther King Jr. did accelerate things like getting the Voting Rights Act passed and the Civil Rights Act passed. Because President Johnson, he just like threw his hands up and said, "I got to give it," because the country exploded at that point. I think also I don't believe that there's enough focus on grassroots activity and understanding that everybody is a leader, or everybody can be a leader. I feel sometimes like folks want to find that one character or that one figure, that one person who can represent us all, and we're not quite there. We don't live in that space where one person can represent all of us. And I think it's important to align yourself with, first of all, to do your own thing, right? Whatever little bit you can do to make things better, you do it. If there are organizations, what is your lane? Is your lane politics? Is your lane education? Is your lane social
justice?
Justice. Find that lane and get in it. And when you get into one of those lanes, the one that you subscribe to, then you can put in the work to help to move things along, because it really does take all of us. It's not just that one person, because trust and believe, like we said, Martin Luther King we had that March on Washington. Everybody talks about the "I Have a Dream" speech, but nobody talks to you about Dorothy Cotton or some of the women who worked to get that.
Yes. So there was a civil rights movie. Sorry to cut you off.
No,
there was a civil rights movie, and I cannot remember what it was called, but it talked about all of the women who helped be a part in the background work that they did for everything to work. So like, I don't think people realize like how much work it really takes to really pull off the events that they were doing. It wasn't just, okay, everybody, let's get together, let's go down to such and such, and we gonna march. No, it took hard work and dedication, making sure people had the right mind frame, making sure that people knew, because social media was not a thing back then. You had the newspaper and the news, but from my understanding, people really weren't accepting to us. So they weren't trying to put anything positive in the newspaper for us, that was going to help us and make us look good. So they had to pick up the phone and make phone calls. They had to schedule where we're going to meet, what we're meeting about, what this march is about. And it just, when I wish I could remember what the movie was. But I know like Coretta Scott King's movie kind of talked about it. There was a movie with Niecy Nash. She was in it, and it kind of talked about it. So just seeing that background work and how hard they really, not just Martin, but the background people really had to push to make everything happen. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, the difference also is that we had a robust Black press back then that we don't have anymore. Black media is so slim now that it's actually, it's frightening. And I know for me, I go to here's a free plug for you. I watch Roland Martin Unfiltered because that's where I get the news about us.
I see him on YouTube when I'm scrolling on my stuff, and I click in every now and then if I'm not, actually doing something that I have to do. But yeah.
Yeah, he reminds me of the arrogant uncle that I don't really have. But he is. He's very knowledgeable. His history is straight and on point. He's a lot of different things, but definitely he's informative. And I find that I'm very much aligned with him. I'm like, I could have written that book. That's the way it is. But we don't have the Black press that we did. And like you said, it takes a lot. The reason that many people made it to Washington for that march is because of that Poor People's Campaign. It's because he went around and they talked to people and they rallied people. They saw people in their churches and, where we gathered and discussed our issues.
Perfect. And when you said that, now I do remember them having Black media, because that's just like with Emmett Till, with that whole situation with Emmett Till. That's how they got out that information, was the Black media, the Black newspapers really pushing that story. So that is a very important topic. Listen, I want everyone who is in the comments, I want you to, if you would like, to hit the link and come and join me in the room, because I would like to get your perspective on what Martin Luther King Day means to you, what the legacy, the life, and the work has meant to you, and what you're doing to further that legacy work in our community and in today's society. Hey Nadi, how you doing?
Hey Robin.
Listen, talk to me, Nadi. So where did you learn? What was your first learning experience as far as like Dr. Martin Luther King and what he did and who he was?
Well, it came from my family to start. They're the ones that told me the story, because they grew up in those eras. My grandparents, my mom. Like, my mom was born in 1946, so she witnessed a lot growing up. So that's where my first education came from. And then, because of where I went to school, they did talk about it heavy, when it did come about. But what it means to me, the day, that's why I do what I do, the Naughty Love movement. So,
and tell everyone what you do as well, so that people will know, what you do and how this represents you as well.
As far as me starting my own head wrap line. Thank you so much, Rhea. Starting my own head wrap line. The foundation, and Robin, we talked about this yesterday, the foundation of it, where it came from. People would approach me like, I love your look. I love when you wear the head wraps, and people, they approached me like respectfully, like it was like a different type of energy. So that's where I came up with the idea, like, well, maybe I should start my own head wrap line, because the idea is I want everyone to feel that respect, right? So that's where I came up with handing out my crowns to my kings and my queens, and it's just a whole different look, and it's becoming more and more popular amongst men and women, because people are going towards the natural realm of things. But I started it so that I can get into community and give back. So part of that is I vend in the summertime. I vend at all the major festivals, and I try to go towards ones where they promote Black-owned businesses. And so we do giveaways and things like that. just to, support the community and everything. But people are always feeling good in my booth. I love it. I love like rummaging through the fabric, helping someone find that pattern that speaks to them, because each pattern does tell a story. Okay. And especially with the Nigerian fabrics, it goes back to our roots. Each of those fabrics represent different tribes that we're from, the kings and queens, our royalty roots, and so I just wanted to give back in that way to my community, by showing an act of honor on basic human respect.
I love that.
That's what Martin Luther King means to me, and that's why I started Naughty Love Movement.
Okay. So, from a school's perspective, because I was sharing a little earlier, for me, in my opinion, school gave me a very scary opinion about the civil rights, Dr. Martin Luther King, our Black history, because just so much, in reality, so many negative, harmful things happen to us. And for me, as I was saying earlier, I'm an empath. I feel everything. So anything I see, I feel it. It bothers my feelings, my emotions, my mind. It messes me up. It really, really does. And so I want to know, from a school aspect, how did you receive? I know it may be a little different because your parents did teach you, but as far as a schooling aspect, how did you perceive what was given?
So, and that's the key. Like when I was younger, I went to like a more urban elementary school. Actually, it's named after Whitney Houston because her mom used to come sing to us every year. So that was the culture of the school. So they celebrate when MLK, it was like a holiday. It's like a major holiday in school. Like that was they had plays based on it, and there was choir attached to it. And what I remember from a child is how by the end of that ceremony, by the end of that presentation, the whole room would be singing "We Shall Overcome."
Yes, we shall overcome. I love it.
So
Hi, Aaron.
I actually have parents that moved up, and we ended up moving to a more suburban area. All right. And although it was very blended at the time I was there, it wasn't, I was missing that emphasis on that day once we moved to the suburban areas. Like it started to dwindle. And when I got to middle school years, high school years, it wasn't celebrated as much.
Yeah, see, from what I remember in elementary school, we watched a lot of movies. And the movies were just very surreal and focused, in my opinion, on the negative, harmful things that happen to us. So that's why I have such a, or I had such a feeling about, this day and just our history and everything, because it just made me feel not so well. But now that I've gotten older, I understand what it means. I've seen the hard work and the dedication that has been put behind, the vision that our ancestors wanted us to have. And I think the thing that we miss most, or that I miss, I'll speak for myself, the thing that I miss most is that this was a vision and a dream even before Martin Luther King. So many people wanted that freedom. They wanted the rights. They wanted to feel like everyone else who had that freedom and right. And to see that he was able to push the vision that not just him, but him alongside so many others were able to push the vision and the dream that our ancestors, even before him, had for us. It just makes me greatly appreciate the generational work that has been done to bring us to where we are today. And I'm happy where we are. Satisfied, no, but I am happy that we have been able to get to where we are. And I truly believe that with the generation that is coming, everything that has been happening, that we will be able to push further in a positive way. And I feel that it will not be as peaceful as our past generation did it, but it will do the work, if that makes sense. It will do what needs to be done in order for the vision and the dream to continue to come to pass. So, Nadi, let me ask you this. What do you think we need to do in order to continue to keep the dream going further and faster?
Well, we have to follow the basic blueprint that was set forth by our legacy.
Mhm.
That's good. I like that.
Because that's what it was. They set the blueprint so that we can learn how to fight for our rights. So
They had a
that we
plan.
they had a plan, and it starts by closing the divide, people. There's a lot of division, and I believe, and I stand by this, there's a lot of division because there's so much competition of who wants to be better or who has what. Okay, a lot of materialism and idolatry going on, and I really feel like our people needs to get back to basics. Get back to the basics of the simple support of one another.
Mm,
Even with what we're doing, right, Royer?
I
It,
agree.
it's as
Yeah,
simple as
it's simple.
hit the like
But that's the
button.
thing, Nadi. Everybody, in my opinion, who was in those positions of leadership,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, a lot of them make the work feel like it's so much harder than what it has to be. That's just like, this is kind of, well, it's on subject, but off subject. Christianity, believing. I feel like people make it something that it harder than what it has to be. You either believe or you don't. You either gonna do the work
Mm-hmm.
or you're not. You're either gonna,
Mm-hmm.
walk in it or you won't. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it's the same thing. Either we're gonna believe that we're free, we're gonna walk like we're free, we're gonna talk like we're free, or we're not. We're either gonna plan and do the work or we're not. And that's what we have to get back to, really the basics of planning, having a vision, making the vision happen, and then walking forward into it as it's happening.
Sorry, someone's at my door.
You're good. Auntie Robin, I'll ask you, and I may have asked you already, so if you could just give it to us again, what do you think it's going to take for us to push the vision further and faster?
Well, faster ain't gonna happen, but further.
We're going to speak things that have not been as though they are, okay?
I told you I'm about to punch my AARP card. I've been around, man. So I think I still
Go ahead.
I still believe that everybody has to do there are a few things. Nadia is correct. But and can I, instead of answering that directly, I want to speak to something Nadi said.
Go ahead.
Nadi said the blueprint is there and we have to follow it. I believe that what I have observed in recent years has been a serious void, but the void has been kind of almost like a fight between the old guard and the new guard, or rather the old guard and the whole guard, because I believe that for too long we have had the establishment leadership and legacy organizations, and they have operated on a particular level amongst themselves. And I really don't feel that most of them have done a good enough job at mentoring new leadership. They have not done that. And so that's where there have been fights, in my opinion, and what I have observed and experienced. You need to bring people along. So I will tell you, I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. I'm impressed with the fact that the National Action Network, they really do a good job of mentoring youth for leadership. They have youth in leadership position. The other day, Royer, you spoke about Hakeem Jeffries.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about the new leadership in the Congress, the Democratic leadership, is that the three new folks, the leader, the whip, and what's the third one? Well, the three of them, that they were mentored all along by Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn and Steny Hoyer. Then those three people in top leadership said, you know what? They ready. But we're not going to abandon them. We're going to get behind them. We're going to raise them up, and we're going to stay behind them and next to them so that they can be assured of success.
Yeah.
That's part of what I think has been is what we're lacking. So that's one thing. But to answer the question you asked, I still say that you do work on the grassroots level. You do what you can, and what you want to do, because people will do what you want, what they can, not what you want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
You find your own lane, and you get in it, and you put in the work that you want. And at some point, there'll be a wonderful coincidence of folks coming together in a particular brain trust to move your agenda forward.
I love that. I have to agree with that. It's about finding your place, where you belong in the community, what you're supposed to be doing, and then actually doing your part. And I think that is a lot of the issues. We got too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Everybody want to be in charge. Everybody want to run things, but nobody wants to actually do the work that it's going to take to pull off the vision, the dream, and the agenda that we are working so hard to put in place. So I
And I have
love
a
that you
saying.
said that.
One of my sayings is, in order to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower, and that's also important. Yeah.
In order to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower. And I think also what's important, in order to get the work right, we have to learn to make mistakes. We have to learn how to make those mistakes, grow from the mistakes, and then put in place operations so that the mistakes don't happen again.
We
And
don't
that's
call them mistakes, we call them lessons.
lessons. There we go. So, chat, I would like you all to tell me, and so I can just read them aloud. If you want to come up, the link is dropped. So you're more than welcome to come on up. But I would like for you all to tell me what MLK Day means to you, and what do you think that you can do to help push the agenda further. And I'm going to continue to say faster because I want us to push it further, faster, okay?
Okay.
But as we
And the youth shall lead us.
listen to the highest heights, okay? We going forward. But yes, I really do believe that as I'm waiting on the chat, I really do believe that as we continue to grow, the generation that's coming behind me, they sick and tired of being sick and tired of the same crazy stuff. And I see that we have some fighters coming behind us. And I see the fight that Martin Luther King and uh um
John Lewis.
Thank you. I was trying to think of his name. John Lewis and Roland Martin and Al Sharpton and so many other men and women who helped to get us where we are today. I see the energy in those spirits and so many of our young people that are coming up. And even in my generation, I see so many who are already working in the political fields. They are running for governor, they're running for Senate, they're running for their public offices because they want to see a change in our generation. And the only way for us to make that change is for us to get into the positions that control the change. We have to get into those positions, and then those who were in those positions, for those of us who vote, we have to hold those individuals accountable for what they tell us they're going to do and what needs to be done in our communities.
Facts. Also, I mean, we have to lead by example, and that's one thing I had to take accountability for with my children, like laying the foundation for them, letting them know the importance of voting and being a good community leader. A good, how can I say it? You just have to lead by example in your community. So you have to walk around.
I agree. I agree. You got to lead by example. You got to really see. You got to have a vision. You have to have a mentor. You have to have someone. And it's kind of like what we talked about on the show the other week, believing in something bigger than you. You got to have someone that you're looking up to, someone that you're believing in, and you, personally, I feel like you need to have that relationship and that connection with our Father and our God, or whoever you feel you're created by. But cousin, welcome into the room.
Oh, that's your cousin? Hello, cousin. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Welcome into the room. What talk to us? What now? Y'all, this is my eldest cousin down here below me, and we're a couple years off. I won't put you all the way out there. So we definitely have a different, view in our time because he's a little bit older than me. So tell me, cousin, how did you learn about Martin Luther King? And let's talk about that first. How did you learn?
I love some of the answers that all of y'all gave earlier, especially the one where you said family. Family was really, really big in you learning about Martin Luther King. And it was that for me as well, but also in school because I didn't necessarily go to a predominantly Black school. Went to more of a predominantly white school.
Right.
And you grow up in our day and age, and it can seem like that part of history didn't exist.
Yes.
Being, in the room with a bunch of white kids and Black kids, and Mexican kids and Asian kids, like that's just normal. That's not something that was as tragic as it was. So the history of learning it in schools and from mothers, uncles, grandparents, all of the above, to just keep it real and to let us know that we are blessed to be where we are today because of how so many have fought through the years and generations. So, yeah.
I love that perspective, and you put those words perfectly in order for me because I didn't really know how to say it. I think growing up in such a mixture of a community as far as schooling, like you said, it just didn't. It seemed normal for us to all cohesive in one atmosphere versus back then where everybody grew up in their personal sector, if that makes sense. And so that is a perfect example of putting it. Wow, thank you. You got me a little speechless right there. So let me ask you this. When you learned about it, how was it? Did you perceive it as, oh, this is great, I want to be a part? Did you feel like, oh man, because me, I'm scary. Every little thing scares me and every little thing makes me feel some type of way. So what did it do for you? Like the way that you learned about Martin Luther King and our history, how did that, what was that for you? Hey, Curbs, welcome to the building.
Hey, Royer, what's good, panel? Hey, chat. Happy Martin Luther King Day.
Happy birthday, Queen.
Yes. Oh my gosh. James, I'm sorry to cut you off just real quick. Listen, today at 3:00, is it Central, Curves?
Pacific time, 6
Pacific,
p.m.
sorry.
Eastern time.
3:00 Pacific time, 6:00 Eastern Standard Time. Curves will be having a birthday celebration for herself over on her channel. So if you have time today, Eastern time, 6:00, Pacific time, 3, go over to her channel. She has a special guest. Can I tell who the special guest is?
Of course.
It is Dr. Heavenly Combs of Married to Medicine.
Yes,
Dr. Heavenly.
We are Heavenly's angels.
So Heavenly's going to be over there helping to celebrate Curbs' birthday. And so I'm going to pop in as well in your live, Curbs. I'll be down in the comments. So I want everybody at 6:00 Eastern Standard Time or 3 p.m. Pacific Time. Go on over to Curves channel and celebrate her birthday with her. I believe it is on the 17th, right, Curves?
Yeah, my actual birthday is tomorrow, but we get the party started today.
Perfect. But today we're going to celebrate with Dr. Heavenly Combs and Curves and all of the Curvy family. Okay, so y'all make sure y'all come over to Curves channel and check us out. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. Okay.
Yes.
All right, James, go ahead and finish what you're talking about, and then Curves are going to come to you.
Brother, I have no idea what the question was anymore.
I was asking. You're supposed to keep up with the questions. I can't do it all now. No. I was asking from so the way that you explained, learning about it, how did it make you feel? Did it make you feel like this is something that you were proud of? You wanted to be a part? Did you feel like you wanted to find out what you could do to make us better? Or were you kind of like me, like, oh my gosh, this is very scary. I don't really want to do too much with this?
It was a little bit of both. Because I feel like born out of the generations after, some really weird stuff started to happen. So I had friends that were white, and they're like, I don't know how that's possible. I don't know how to hate you because of your skin color.
Mm.
It just didn't compute. And like to me, I felt the same way about them. That like, and one of my favorite things, like in discussions like these with my white friends, is like, I'm so blessed to know you. Like I've had so many, white friends that have become like family to me. Have helped me out in really rough spots. I've done the same thing for them. And, we consider it a privilege to know each other. And that's not how it used to be. And so we're heartbroken over the fact that this could not exist had it not been for Martin Luther King and everyone who was a part of the civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. And there were a hidden section of people that didn't like that was the case. And they didn't like that segregation was the thing. So they raised their kids to not like it either. And so I encountered them as well. That it wasn't until freshman year in high school that I got called the N-word by a white person for the first time. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what?
Really? Oh my gosh.
What? And like,
wow.
Had this whole thing. Like he was supposed to be a friend of mine. And like he thought it was kind of a joke. But like to his family, it wasn't a joke. And his family was trying to push him towards keeping things the old way and not moving forward and not doing things like that. And so it was weird times, and we're still going through stuff like that. And you see it now in the political sphere more than ever, and so it didn't go away, kind of went underground. But I've even seen, because like you've probably heard the story of Brandon and Dana and how the family member was like, no, if he steps foot in our town, I'll shoot him on sight. Like,
oh my gosh.
That's
no,
real.
I have not heard that story, but we're going to have that conversation on another day. Wow. We're going to have to talk about your experience as well, James, because I never knew about that. And I am shocked that you had that experience, because I've never had that experience personally. So, really? Wow.
There you go. But so the amazing thing about that person that Brandon encountered, for years, Dana didn't talk to him. One day got back in connection with him and essentially was like, well, I really don't want anything to do with you if you can't accept, the person that I love. And they're like, all right, well, bring him over. We'll find out. Brandon comes over. He blows this guy's mind about how friendly he is, how kind he is, his hobbies, everything. And now they have family meals together and do holidays together and all different kinds of things. So when you talk about pushing things forward, to me, it comes down to getting into the room with these people, with people who are different from you, and helping them understand that we're not different. Skin color doesn't, it's 1% of your DNA or whatever it is, And when people actually get to know you, when they actually get to understand you and love you, they change their mind and their perspective. That man held that belief for 30 years and now doesn't hold that belief at all. Has completely changed because Brandon was able to reach his hand out across the aisle and say, yeah, I know you may have said that about me, but you don't know me and you don't know, our kind of people and the goodness that we can have and share. And now they love being in the same room together. I love telling that story because it's crazy.
That is amazing. Yo, and James. Yo, that's amazing. And I'll say this, Shan, hey, Shan. I will say what Shan kind of said. It's about starting the conversation. And literally, that is what Brandon did. He started the conversation. Well, sure. Dana did, like Dana said, I'm not gonna fool with you if you can't get with this, you're not gonna fool. So getting that conversation started, getting the relationship moving and going, yo, I love that. Curves, I'm gonna come over to you because I don't like to be on live more than an hour, so we're gonna keep this, nice short.
Right on. Well, I love Martin Luther King, especially since my birthday. I always got a day off for my birthday because of him. And when I was young, I used to feel like I was supposed to pick up the mantle and be Martin Luther Kingette. And because I always had thoughts about justice. I grew up in Oakland. Shout out to the Black Panthers. My dad was active. You know what I mean? So I grew up about it. But I also have like a white grandmother, like white from France, white, like her family turned their back on her white, you know what I'm saying? Because she loved a black man white,
Wow.
So like I know that love can exist regardless of skin color, and that had it not been for her loving that black man, I wouldn't even be here. You know what I'm saying? So I respect the love part, but it's just like, who said it? Was it Muhammad Ali? Who said, if there's 1,000 snakes coming to bite you and they're like, but we're all not poisonous. You're going to let you're going to let one in the room just because the other one said they wasn't poisonous? Like, we really have to look at the responsibility when you have such entitlement and privilege in this country. And when you're not using it to empower the other people that built this country that are persecuted right beside you. If you're not being a true ally and speaking up for them on a daily basis, not just at the march, not just when you want us to put a pink pussy hat on, not, you know what I'm saying, but constantly reaching across the aisle and being a true ally in this.
Uh-oh, Curves, did I lose you?
You might have, brother.
Okay, Curbs, we lost you, honey. I love what you were saying. So if you want to try to come out and come back in, I'm not sure what happened, but I'm gonna remove you and then I'll bring you back in if you come back up. But I love what Curves was saying. She was definitely bringing some good points. But I love how she said that she felt like it was her responsibility to pick up the mantle, and to really help push the agenda. I love how hold on. Curves, you back? Oh, okay. No. Okay. But yes, I love how she said she tried, it made her want to pick up the mantle. I love how she looked back on her family history, and that she said that she would not be here if it wasn't from her family member. I believe it was her grandmother or great grandmother, marrying a black man and being in love, So seeing that family history, making us want to, or making Curves really want to do that work to push further and to make our community better. It's just so good to hear. So, as you know, over here in Royer's World, we are about laughter, love, and inspiration. And hopefully you have found something to giggle at today. Hopefully you found something to love about our conversation today. And hopefully something that someone said inspired you today. And so as we close out the show, I want to start closing out every show with everyone who was on the panel giving me something that they are inspired about 2023 doing, so that we can just, speak it into the atmosphere, put it out there, and actually push forward to make that work happen. Okay. So I'll start off with Auntie Robin. Auntie Robin, is there anything special for 2023 that you are pursuing or pushing for, or looking forward to happening? Did I lose Auntie Robin? Did we lose you too?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on mute.
It happens to the best of us.
That's right.
Okay, so you can go ahead now.
Actually, I stopped doing, this is going to sound really jacked up, but I don't do a lot of planning and pre-planning and the hopes and dreams and wishes. And you know what I think? I think that my hope for myself is that I get back to that point where I'm able to have my own dream. That's what I'm hoping for myself for 23.
That's good.
I love that.
Good.
Nadi, what about you? What are we hoping, and what's one aspiration for 2023 we're looking to fulfill?
You talk about me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you went to your cousin.
No.
Oh, I'm excited about 2023, guys. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I'm excited to grow my brand and like just develop it. So yeah, no, it's something to look for. I love the journey of being an entrepreneur and everything. And that's why I started my platform and stuff. That was my way so I could share my gifts with the world, basically. And I'm just having so much fun doing it because it's been a long time since I've been this passionate about something, because I worked 16 years for a corporate monster and I'm over it, and some really traumatic happened to me last year, and it just really put that battery in my back for me to push through that pain. So I use like my art and everything. And that's how I started to, develop my brand and my LLC. So like, I'm excited about 2023 because last year was just laying like the foundation, right? This year, we're just like running through it. We got it all figured out. So I'm excited.
All right. Well, cousin, we'll end it off with you. What in 2023? What's one thing that you are just like super excited about, that you're working towards, that you want to see blow up?
Well, I'm nowhere near as far as your friend here, but just I echo everything that she said about chasing your passion and your dream. And for me, it's not clothing, but the music side of things. So just, diving into writing scores and
I felt your artsy vibe. I felt it instantly.
Aha! Come on now.
One is recognizes another.
So yeah, just continuing to dive into that. When you said you're just feeling that passion, man, I can wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning before work and spend hours just in front of a piano or my guitar. And so like just continuing that and seeing where the Lord takes that. So thanks, cousin. Love you to death.
You're welcome.
Nice meeting you.
Don't go anywhere. Don't drop off yet. Hold on. I may be overstepping boundaries, and so you can fuss me out a little later if you want to, whatever. But this is the cousin who created my theme song for my show that I did for Dr. Heavily. He is like the music genius. However, I can point to you down here. You know who you are.
We need to connect because I need music. I'm willing to buy it.
Oh, come on.
So he is the music genius. So if y'all are looking for music, yes, I'm going to promote you now. So whatever. If you're looking for music,
Nice.
Tell us what your Instagram page is. It's Olive Branch.
Olive Branch Music.
Olive Branch Music. You can follow him on Instagram. You can follow him on Facebook. He also has a YouTube channel as well. Olive Branch Music.
Yep.
Olive Branch Music. So follow him on Instagram, YouTube. Facebook, all the social medias. If you need some music, if you need whatever as far as musical sound, he is great in photography as well, videography, all of that. I will put his information in my description box so that y'all can hit him up. And yeah, we're going into business together. We've been in business together as a family anyways. So we're gonna make it happen. But thank you. For me, I'm just excited about 2023. 2023 is for me, it's my year. All of my money, all of my goals, all of my aspirations, it's coming to me this year. So I figured everybody on this live who has joined in the chat, on the camera, I thank you so much. Everything that you are speaking for this year and you're believing, I'm calling it out and it's coming to pass. It's going to happen. So walk into it, believe it, and receive it. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on today's live, celebrating Martin Luther King Jr., the life, the work, and the legacy. I apologize for the Wi-Fi interruptions earlier, but thank you, Auntie Robin, for taking over for me until I can get to a good location to where it was good, okay? That's what I love about my community. We help each other. We back each other up. So thank you all so much. Please remember, like this video. Comment
Share.
in the comment section. Share this video. Also, Naughty Love right here below me, she has a YouTube channel. So please go to her channel and subscribe. We talked a little bit about her businesses today. So go to her Instagram, Naughty Love Movement, I believe that is. Look at everything she got going on. Buy, promote, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. And then Auntie Robin is in the room all the time. I don't know why she doesn't have a YouTube channel, but we're going to make her a part of all the YouTube channel that she creates. So follow each of us and you'll be following Auntie Robin as well. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody.
Everybody go out and do something for somebody.
That's right. That's right.
Absolutely. Acts of service.
So remember to like this video, comment below, subscribe to my channel if you like what we're talking about. Share, 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 and I will see you all next time. Bye.
Later, everybody.
See ya.